Geek Dad Life presents Toy Geeks, a live toy talk show. Tonight we're going to talk about our favorite reveals from the 2021 PowerCon. Jay is also going to share his thoughts about his experience of attending the PowerCon, as well as his toy hauls. All of that and more tonight on Toy Geeks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toy Geeks. My name is Jay, and with me, as always, usually Sundays at 9 p.m., but tonight, Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is my good friend John. John, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Happy Monday.
Yeah, Monday edition of Toy Geeks, because I was flying last night back home from a whirlwind trip going to PowerCon. Flew in from the East Coast, Raleigh, North Carolina, into Anaheim, or actually LAX, flew in LAX, and then took an Uber to the Hilton Convention Center and went right in line for the PowerCon. So it was definitely like just jump in head first, feet first, into the flames of MOTU geekery and con fun. But excited to be back home and excited to finally like talk about all of the things that were revealed and shown at PowerCon, John.
Yeah. How are you feeling? You jammed in a week's worth of events in 2 days, in not even 2 full days.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. You know, Colleen and I like to adventure and stuff like that, and usually do like a 3-day weekend or something. But just the way the timing worked out, we didn't really have any PTO. We both started new jobs, so it's just kind of like, we're gonna do it. It's just going to be these days. And yeah, we did pack in a ton while we were there, you know, and made the most of it, which was fun. It's kind of the best way to do it, where you're in California so short, you don't have time to acclimate to the time change or anything. So you really, like, you're there and then you're back home, and it's like, was I even on the West Coast?
Right.
But yeah, it was a fun experience. Absolutely worth all of the it wasn't even difficult or anything, but just like the travel and everything. It was well worth it. And got to meet quite a few people at the PowerCon that are part of our live stream every single week. So that was a lot of fun. So speaking of the people that are part of our community here, let's check in with the chat. Michael Gervais is here. Space Cowboy is here. Cobweb, the Great Gambino, had a blast at PowerCon this year. That's awesome. John Rhodes, Dartherian, let me keep going. J Mac, Beast Mode, Evil Villain. Oh, I was able to score all the exclusives today. That is good. We'll talk about that as well. Beast Mode, Chris Nolan. Let's see. Keep going. Free Reign Monday. Confused, but acts like it better. Let's go. Sorry about that, Free Reign. Chad Trips, Nelson. Let's keep going. Zom 2010. Mathel blows. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it's tough. It's always tough when exclusives go up like they do. And Lenderos is here. Surprise, no frights on Snake Mountain. We'll definitely talk about that. Smedberg is in the house. Good to see you, Adam. Let's keep going. Jonathan Morello. Brandon 3G. The Figure Trap. Let's get this MOTU talk cracking. Pop Actor. Ooh, a new profile. I don't know who the heck that is, Pop Actor. I don't think it's you, though. That's gonna be my guess. Maybe it is. I don't know. Pop Actor, good to see you. Roberto Colon, Michael Palmer, Master Blaster is here. Metal Creation is having a sale when everyone's at work is BS. Yeah, I completely missed it. We'll talk about that though a little bit later. Gamer Bud, Chris Nolan, Nightmare, James Maton. Holy moly. Keep going, most of the same people. Gary is in the house. Toys That Glow. Happy MOTU Monday. DJ Stibbs. I was able to get Sunman. That's great. Bullwinkle 80. Damned Ash. Hey guys, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while, Damned Ash. Renders FX. Sebastian Gomez. David B. Billy. Colleen, whoever she is, some Mirando. Yeah, I met her at the con and she just kind of kept hanging around me, and I was like, okay, it's getting a little uncomfortable. I'm just kidding.
She's messaging from inside the house.
Retro cynical. Whew. All right. Well, anyways, Lane Gilmore, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Oh, Phineas, good to see you, Phineas. Judy is here. So where's Judy? There we go. Hey, Judy, good to see you. Gamer Bud, Ben Alexander. Holy moly, packed house because we are excited to talk about He-Man. It's the holiest of He-Man holidays that happened this past week or this weekend, like the past 2 days. And if you follow, hopefully you follow, but if you don't, definitely give the Geek Dead Life Instagram page a follow. So if you kind of want, as it was happening, content from me being there, definitely check that out. Posted from being in the panels, as well as the actual Mattel display. And also, did some kind of walkthrough videos, as well as going through the Mattel booth live on Instagram. So I usually kind of save some toy hunt videos, but the 2 PowerCon day 1 and day 2, you can find right there on the Geek Dad Life Instagram page. That's simply Geek Dad Life. So give us a follow. We're almost at 1,000 followers on the page. So one of my 2010 goals is to get 1,000 on the Instagram, so I can be cool. I can try to be one of those influencers and hawk toothbrushes or something. I don't know. So John. Oh, wait, and we have a sponsor for today's video. I forgot. Nerd Bombers. Still a thing. Hold on. I got a picture here. Nerd Bombers. Nerd Bombers. So I don't know if Mike's going to do like a different promotion every single week or not, but this week is a different promotion. So if you click there's a link in the description below to the Nerd Bombers page, but it's like an affiliate link. So if you want to support the channel, use that link when you purchase things. And a small percentage of each sale will go to John and I here on Toy Geeks. And then there's another promo code. If you want free shipping on any order over $20, use the promo code GeekShip. So the Geek Dad one from last week is gone. New promo for this week is GeekShip. Free shipping on orders of $20 or more. And again, if you're going to shop on the site, use the affiliate link in the description below. All right. Now with that out of the way. John, PowerCon, you've been before. When did you go? A couple years ago?
2017.
2017.
It was still in the small space. It was in, I think it was in LA. It felt like it was 5 minutes from LAX, although it took an hour to get out of LAX. But it was in a hotel. I can't remember where it was.
But it wasn't in Anaheim? Wait, what?
No, it used to be in a smaller venue. They moved it to Anaheim in 20. I think they moved it in 2018. I think 2017 was the last year where it was in the old location because they were outgrowing it.
Yeah.
But judging from your videos, that the vendor floor and like just the floor itself where the artists and the celebrities, it was probably a quarter of that.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it was a good size space, because we've done our own little toy convention here in Raleigh. And it followed a similar footprint where we used ballrooms and then kind of had the outside area, but it was much bigger, much higher ceilings. It had a very nice space. The panel room was really big as well, which was nice. Plenty of room in there. I was a little worried. The doors didn't open until 10. I'm actually going to play this little clip here showing kind of the actual vendor floor. But I was worried maybe the panel room would have been too big or not big enough, and I wouldn't be able to see the panel, which was kind of really important. I wanted to be a part of that. But no, it was a good size for the panel room. And then the actual exhibit hall really dug, because it seemed really spacious. There was a couple moments of a little too kind of close together, but overall felt like there was enough space to kind of see everything, get to everything relatively easily. The aisles are pretty big, and then just from like a COVID perspective, um, everyone was wearing masks and kind of following all the steps. There wasn't any knuckleheads or anything like that, which was pretty good. No Walmart Karen tirades or anything like that. Everyone was very well behaved, which was great. So, but yeah, so being like a San Diego Comic-Con vet, been I don't know 16 years in a row or something like that. I really dug the feel of this one because it was a lot of vintage and some modern stuff too, but it was so toy focused. And while there was artists and stuff like that, there was just some really good toy vendors there. And I don't know if it was the same when you went, John.
Yeah. I remember like that was probably the most vintage toys I've seen under one roof, for sale. There was, I think the most modern stuff was classics at that time, and the Four Horsemen where they were selling Mythic Legions.
Yep.
Past that, there was very little modern. Maybe a handful of like Marvel Legends or something.
Yeah.
But it was so awesome. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just like, I wish it's one of those things where I wish I had like 2 more days just to like go through each booth and really pick through with a fine-tooth comb each booth, each artist, each everything, because there wasn't enough time to do it. But from what I saw, it was just great. I freaking loved it. In terms of for the toy show that we started here in Raleigh, it's kind of like what our ideal state would be, just having really like people bringing in stuff that you just don't see. And just about every different dealer had some really awesome stuff. Like this guy had, look at how many box Gray Skulls, had the Eternia. I think it's Eternia Dreams was his store. Again, had an insane premium on everything in it, but he had laser powered Skeletor and He-Man, like everything. There wasn't a thing he didn't have. And that kind of just went throughout. Just there were so many booths like I've never seen this before in person.
Were the guys there selling the giant knockoff blow mold figures?
Yep. That they were there in the front area. But yeah, it was again, it's just like there's just so, and even Colleen went with me. I was just like, I've never seen that. And I go to San Diego Comic-Con, people bring great stuff there, but this was just again, just from like a toy collector standpoint, it was a really good show. Just even from that point, like taking the MOTU out of it, because it was very MOTU heavy, but that was awesome. And then now you're looking at the Mondo booth, but there was pretty good reps from some of the heavy hitters like Super 7, Mondo, Mattel. They brought it as well, which is really cool, which I think added to it. And Alan Johnson says, loved, let me actually remove this, loved the vintage booth a ton, but could have done without so much origin stuff that was just being flipped. Yes, I mean, it was there, but I think, especially it being a He-Man convention, I know a lot of people were picking up origin stuff, or Revelations have been pretty easy to find. But, I could see collectors coming that going, like, I haven't found this yet in the wild. I want to pick it up, So I get it, but I didn't think it was too bad. Like nothing felt, sometimes we've been to conventions or toy shows where there's way too many pops and stuff like that. I was like, oh, it's just a pop show or something, where it overdoes it. And it's like, there's nothing that I want. And this felt really healthy, where tons of vintage stuff. There was modern stuff too. And it had a bit, and it had reps from, Four Horsemen were there as well. And hung out and got to chat with Nate Barch, friend of the channel. Fantastic artist. So great to meet him in person. So it kind of had a bit of everything, which I thought was really good. J-Mac, the Masterverse looked great. I'm more stoked for those than ever. Yeah, we'll talk about that in our favorite things. Let's see. Froggy75, have you been hearing about the loose knee issues with HasLab Sentinel. Very disappointing. I haven't had the loose knees, but if you watch my video, if it's a slippery surface, they should have done a ratchet joint in the hips. Period. The end. That was a big miss from an engineering perspective. Sunman, absolutely. So yeah, tons of great stuff there, but just to Great Gambino's point, great show this year. It was a really, really good show. Alan Johnson, some of the owls definitely had more popular boosts that made them feel cramped. That's true. But what again, I like that Mattel was in the back corner. Four Horsemen was in the complete opposite corner. And then Mondo was the next aisle. And then I believe Super 7 was the next aisle. Like they weren't all in one aisle making it cramped. So like each aisle had like a big heavy hitter. But they weren't all in one, which I think spaced it out okay. I think they did the best they could do with the space that they had, which I didn't mind.
I think that's what they did last time. Super 7 and the Horsemen were on opposite corners, but on the same row. Like they were on the back wall.
Yeah.
And the Horsemen were all the way over in the right corner. Super 7 was all the way over in the left corner. And that was a busy aisle. But I'm not complaining. Me and James were set up dead center of those two.
Oh, really? Awesome. And it was great seeing James there, our mutual friend. He was set up turbines of speed if you bought anything from him. I even subbed in and helped him out for a minute so he could go take a restroom break at one point, and even sold some things. So I got to, put on the dealer hat for a minute there, make them wheeling and dealing. There was actually one, because he gave me an exhibitor badge. And there was one guy who was like, how much would you take 10 for this? It was like a $15 fare. I can't remember what it was. And James was there. I was like, hey, you cool with 10 for this? And James was like, yeah, sure, I'll do 10. And I was like, okay. And then so I was like, here, it'll be 10. I took the money, gave it to James. Like, oh, I thought you wanted it for 10. I would have sold it for 12 to anybody else. So I was like, oh, all right, sorry.
That happens a lot though between dealer friends of ours. No biggie.
Yeah, exactly. But Knight's Edge, thank you for the super chat. £1.79. I don't know how that converts, but thank you very much, Knight's Edge. I really wanted to see Mecha Neck and Moss Man. I agree. We'll talk about that in the Origins reveal in a second, but totally agree. I think while there was some great reveals, I think there's like some misses too, for sure. Did you collect a commission? No, I did not. There's this, kind of code amongst dealer friends or whatever. Like we all got each other's back, and we'd all help each other out, and there's no commission needed. But Phineas, how lame was it that Mattel team wasn't there in person? They taped their panel. Were they at home waiting for Mattel Creations to open? Just one more millisecond. We'll get into that because I agree. It was being sitting there and then they announced it. It was super lame. Super lame. Space Cowboy, 96 more super chats to a 4 Galactus. There we go. Space Cowboy, you just keep up. Pop Actor, rumor is neck and neck is hard to set up with the neck extension with the Origins figure. Yeah, we talked about that last week, Rick, where I think it was on your list, John, of like what your list of what you want to see.
Yeah.
That could be the thing that's holding that back, but hopefully they get to it eventually for sure. Knight's Edge, another super chat. All right, Space Cowboy, do the math. Was glad that we got to see the new CGI show there. Yeah, absolutely. Pumped for that, as well as the fact that they're going to include it into Masterverse, which I think is important. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here, John. What we're set here to do.
Let's do it.
So we're going to talk about the things we're most excited about. What order do you want to do this in? Because I kind of categorized it with MOTU Origins, Revelations, Sunman, some of the panel reveals. Like, how do you want to break it down?
We can start with Origins.
Okay.
What we seen in cases first.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull that up. I have pictures that I took myself Oh, also of all the people, met a lot of people, which was awesome. And again, thank you everybody like, reached out or said hey or whatever. Honestly, like my favorite moments of the show, including I met Toy Shiz in real life. He was there.
Really?
Yeah. So he was in the panel too. I saw he posted from the panel. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, where are you sitting? He's like 2 rows in front of me. But he keeps like his, real name and real self like private. So this is like the first time I've ever seen him. But at first I was like, hey, oh, nope, I can't reveal who you are. But anyways, it was really nice to meet him. So Toy Shiz, awesome to get to meet you in real life. But your secret's safe with me. I won't tell anyone who you are. But here, let me pull this up. I got the Pikachus right here. So yes, so they had different display booths, and you probably saw a little bit of the little video thing I was playing earlier, but let me pull it up here. Oh, Alan's trying to meet with Toy Shiz as well. He and I were friends in high school. Very cool. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Again, we can't reveal a secret identity. We cannot. All right, let's share screen. Pick the Pikachus. All right. We'll just start in what I got here. Jitsu. What are your thoughts on the Jitsu reveal?
That looks like a vac metal hand, right?
Is in the panel, and I think they streamed the same thing we saw, so I don't know if it's any of it different, but they kept talking about VUM or VUM, which is this vacuum form metal or whatever. That's like their code word for vac metal. And they were all about how much vac metal they're going to be using. So this vac metal is going to be on his hand.
Awesome. I didn't see that. Although I might have missed it from the panel. I did try and catch as much as I could streaming. Yep. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of hope they do another Fisto with a vac metal fist. Yep. I'd buy an extra one.
Absolutely. They must have just figured it out for the Battle Armor He-Man, and now they're all about it, which is awesome.
Except the one that you found.
Oh, that hurt. Because at the show they were selling that set for $100, and it's $50 at retail. So I was like, God. We have another super chat. I don't want to miss that. Retro Cynical, $5. Space Cowboy, we need another update here. But since Anti-Attorney He-Man was put on display for Origins, what do you think of the probability of the Horde Zombie / Slime Pit He-Man is for this line? I think really high since they got the Anti-Attorney He-Man. I think you're on the right track there, Retro Cynical. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to. I have the picture there, so we will talk about it more. But I think that's a great call out. But yeah, so vac metal is here to stay, and they're going to do a ton of it. Was what they kind of said several times during the panel. So for those of us that lamented that the Silverhawks figures not vac metal, Mattel's trying to step up the game, so to speak.
That's awesome. And it looks like it's a great looking figure. I wish they gave him his sword.
He does have the Clawful had it. So I think he grabbed the sword or something. It looked
so in the display it was like Clawful was supposed to be stealing his sword.
I think so. I have another picture of Clawful, I'm pretty sure, and you should see it in that picture. But let's see. Let me see if there's other chats. 94 super chats at $5. There we go. Thank you. Vac metal Fisto with full action feature. Agreed. Like, there's no reason they maybe just do a deluxe version. Like give a couple of different head sculpts, like the one like they did with the 4 Horsemen, where they did a little headband thing or something. There's like a lot of stuff you could probably do with it to make it pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all right. So moving on. There we go. Here we go. Let's just go to Clawful because we talked about it. So there is his sword.
So awesome.
Yeah. And again, even Clawful looks good. Look at the head sculpt on him. I think it looks really good. And Clawful's kind of a boring character, but the head sculpt looks really good. The claw mechanism works, and look at the articulated on the little
on his baby claw.
Yes, baby claw. That's awesome.
That's a first,
right?
I think so. For other than just twisting, because I think the classics just turns.
It just turns.
It's not a ball.
Yeah. So I think, again, I wasn't very excited about the clawful, but I think they did a really good job on him. He looks really good.
He does.
And
I love that figure.
If we're talking about Whiplash, like Whiplash can't be far behind with this figure being here. But yeah, so he had a jitsu sword. Maybe he didn't have Clawful's accessory in time or something like that. I don't know.
I think I think it's with somebody else. That's when I thought I saw. Does Buzz-Off have it?
Oh, you're right. No,
Mini Comic Stratos has it.
Mini Comic Stratos has it. Interesting. I wonder if that was intentional or like who was setting up just didn't know.
Yeah, it's like the person who took the picture of Battle Cat with the saddle halfway off that was on Matty Collector for 8 years.
But yeah, I think just wrapping up Clawful, I think like maybe most exceeded expectations, I think, and just because of the ball jointed baby claw alone, I think makes Clawful pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just the addition of of the ball baby claw that puts it over the edge.
But the paint looks great, the color looks great. Yeah, I think it looks really good.
I hope the claw has a spring in it. I hope it,
I'd assume
is
so,
clasping.
Right? Because look at it, it's holding it pretty tight. I assume it has the spring there. That's easier than having it be a ratchet or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless they just make it tight, and it's just on a hinge that's tight.
Yeah, but will that like hold over time?
Probably not.
I don't know. Who knows? But I'm going to assume, and I know what they say about assuming, but I'm going to assume that it is going to be a spring.
Yeah.
If they are for a web store bringing the magical zipline effect, there's no reason they can't have the spring in Clawful's arm or hand. Big claw.
Yeah, they must have it.
So, is the official canonical reference to the claws? Is it Daddy Claw and Baby Claw?
It is in the Toy Geeks realm.
Oh man. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. All right, let's go on to Antiaternia He-Man. I think we talked about a little bit of a concern that having a bajillion different Antiaternia characters, but I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. I wish his hair was a little bit more red.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it would, because this looks very like custom kind of kit bashy. Like where Clawful looks pretty much ready to go, this one looks like they just painted a He-Man figure. What's your thoughts there? Because look, even the disc in the foot is off color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably just a repainted He-Man.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see the same with the trap jaw as well when you get closer to it. But this looks very much like we don't have the actual product yet, so let's just paint a He-Man we already have. Right. Even the accessories look painted.
Yeah, they look a little too shiny. It looks spray paint. It looks like a spray can paint job.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, I think if you're concerned about the way the Antiaternia He-Man looks, this to me is very clearly like an early stage just paint.
Yeah, it's just this is the placeholder.
I wouldn't call it a paint prototype. It's just it doesn't look that great. So I think it's just like we need something in the case. We can paint this thing pretty quick and be done with it. That's my thoughts there.
Yeah, but I hope the Anti-Eternia stops here.
Yeah. You know they're gonna do it. There's gonna be more.
I know. We're gonna get Tila, Man-at-Arms,
yeah,
Orko. Although Orko would look cool, all black with a red O.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that would look really cool. But I agree. I don't want too much of it, but we're probably gonna get a lot of it. What do you want to do next? Do you want to do?
I mean, sorceress is good if you want to. She's there.
All right, look at her.
Looks pretty much like the original. I mean, we knew it was coming because we got the Temple of Darkness sorceress already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think in person it looked really good. Having the Gray Skull one, the Temple of Darkness one, it's a really impressive figure, I thought. And because I thought the head sculpt and the paint apps on the face and everything were fantastic. Like the Temple of Darkness sorceress, I've always kind of like, because it's kind of boring. It's just all white. Yeah. It's not that compelling to me, like in a display. But it's cool. It's neat to have. It's a nice throw-in with Castle Grayskull. But this is the sorceress everybody wants, obviously. But I'm excited to see how having this figure with the classic colors, with the great head sculpt and face paint apps that we got on the Grayskull version. What's your thoughts there on that?
For the paint apps, if they're going to compare, I mean, I bet this is going to be just the same. I think we'll be just as happy with her. I bet the paint apps on the face are going to be identical because all that stuff is pretty much computerized. You know, the way that it's painted now, it's not like it's, you know, I don't even think they use like a dye that fits over the face and shoots the jet of paint anymore. I don't know if it's like printing or what, because even the feathers on her belly, they look like they're printed on there, not so much painted on there.
Yep. Phineas, new knees, no skin flap.
I don't. Was the Temple of Darkness? Did she have new knees? I can't see her. She's in the tower.
Yeah, she's over here. I couldn't reach her in time, but I don't think she did. I may be wrong. I don't know. The knees never bothered me as much, so I just guess I just didn't really care as much. But I know it's a big deal for people, so I don't want to like downplay it. I know it's important, so it's great that she has them, and hopefully have them in all of the releases. And Retro Cynical, they should make an anti-Eternia playset. Not. Kind of on that same wavelength, Renders FX. Slime Pit He-Man is the one we actually want. He went gangbusters with classics and Funko Pop version. It's a lock. They will hit him up in Origins. Agreed. I would prefer a Slime Pit as well to the anti-Eternia one because it's translucent or hopefully you go translucent plastic with it. It's green. It's slime. I just think it's a far more compelling character. But I know there's fans for the anti-Eternia stuff, so I don't want to downplay it. But for me, I would prefer the Slime Pit one.
Me as well. I could really take or leave the anti-Eternia He-Man.
Yep. But here we go. We got a fan of the anti-Eternia, Luis Villalobos. Anti-Eternia He-Man rules. It's amazing. Saludos from Monterrey, Mexico. Hello. Exactly. I know there's the fans of it, so I don't want to downplay it or put it down because I know there's big fans for it. But for John and me, maybe not so much. So yeah, I really dig this sorceress. I mean, again, we've already gotten the figure. I love that one of it, and the fact we're getting the original colorways, slam dunk.
Yep. And it looks so much like the original. Like if you are a vintage collector strictly, but you don't want to shell out the dough for a vintage one, I mean, you're going to be what, like $200?
Yeah,
that's a perfect, look-alike.
Yeah, agreed. And again, like I have a vintage one, complete, looks really nice, but God, it can't stand up to save its life. And it's all the female, all three of the female figures in the original line. And so again, things like this solve for a lot of the problems in the original. And it's just like I keep debating now, is it time to start replacing the vintage figures in my display with the Eternia playset and all that with MOTU Origins figures and kind of keep the vintage ones safely tucked away somewhere and have the Origins in its place? Or will that slowly kill those figures because they want to be out in the sun? They want to be where the people are.
Could be. It's probably only going to come down to space.
Right? Pretty much. The trade-off for me, though, is I do not want to put my vintage Grayskull away, So that's where it's like, but I love the Origins gray skull. So that's what's like, I guess Origins needs its own display.
Yeah.
Look at the trap jaw. Another one that to me was very clearly just a painted regular trap jaw. So this is like a further away from an actual released figure in terms of I like the colorway though. I think it's fun. But for me, like out of the mini comics variants, I love the blue merman. I dig the stratos. But the Trapjaw and Triclops weren't as big a deal for me. But what's your thoughts? Where do you kind of land on the mini comics variants?
I'm in the same boat, except I don't care so much for the Triclops. I'm not real big on them. I'm not real big on the Blue Merman.
Okay.
I do like the Stratos, and I do love this Trapjaw.
Okay. All right. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Again, it looks great, and they're doing more kind of pearlescent paint, and it looks like they're doing it here on his head and stuff like that. Jitsu had that as well as Sunman. But yeah, again, clearly this one's just a painted Trapjaw. But I would assume it's going to be, kind of casted in these colors and stuff like that more.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I wonder what went wrong there, where they have his mechanical arm, the shoulder is black, the elbow silver, the claw is black. Did they actually have a silver shoulder piece that broke? Because
that's painted to me. That looks painted.
That looks painted, really?
Yeah, to me it does. Because look, there's a little bit of gloop right. There's a little bit of you see the.
Because that's all supposed to be silver, isn't it?
It's a good question. I'm trying to remember. I have the mini comics right over there. I can pull it up. But to me, it looks a little gloopy. Like it looks like it's over the black plastic.
Right. Yeah, there's a little bleeding on the edge a little bit of the black. Yeah, it could be.
So, but you're right. Maybe they're trying to have it more dynamic. Maybe that all silver is kind of monotonous on a real figure. I don't.
Yeah. His helmet, the pearlescent, reminds me of a 1970s motorcycle helmet.
Totally.
A little bit of metallic flake in there.
But again, I think for the fans of it, it's cool they're doing it, and I'm sure it just helps get a little bit more out of the line to do these repaints. I know some people will not be fans of the repaints, but these are pretty essential characters in the MOTU canon. So it's not like Disco Skeletor. I think these are like versions of the characters that people do want, at least fans do want.
Yeah, absolutely. You if you look back, say if you went back through He-Man.org in the customs forums, and you got to look back 15 years before there was a classics, mini comics Stratos, Trapjaw, because they did the PowerCon 3-packs with the mini comic figures. There was people making customs.
Yeah.
For 20 years prior to that.
Yeah. 100%.
And I bet the mini comic variants were one of the most commonly made customs because you just repaint. There's no clay or molding involved or anything to make a custom. It was it was easy. So yes, exactly. I think even though it's just a repaint, these are probably some of the most desired characters.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think these are slam dunks. Pop Richter asks, why did they stop painting Trapjaw's eyebrows? Maybe they will once they do the release. I don't know. Roberto, I don't have the first release Trapjaw from Origin, so this will definitely be my replacement. That's awesome. I think that's great. Space Cowboy says there's a seam in the paint. It's all painted. Well, there you go. And Caesar says Origins better than MOTU Classics. No way Origins goes as deep as Classics went. You never know. Like hell, in a year of Origins, they've done what? 5 years worth of Classics. Like they've gone so fast and so deep, so quick. I don't know. I don't know if you can. Let me ask you that question, John. Can we definitively say Origins won't go as deep as Classics?
No. I wouldn't say that right now. Because we're on wave 6. So that's 24 basic figures so far,
yeah,
plus all the deluxes.
Yep.
That would be 2 years of classics in Origins numbers.
Yeah.
If they're trying to get this much stuff out, take away the She-Ra stuff, I think we could definitely get a deep bench like classics.
Yeah, I think not including the She-Ra, maybe the Filmation style, like maybe the more kind of spin-off stuff that they did, but like core vintage MOTU, I think there's a darn good chance that they could get to a lot of it if the line continues to do well.
Yeah, because we're going to be looking at close to 40 figures at the end of this year.
Yeah.
We've already gotten Grayskull, Land Shark, the Wind Raider, both cats.
Yep.
Stridor's coming.
Yeah.
We've gotten a ton of stuff in a year.
Yeah. In a year. This time last year, we were just getting the Skeletor and He-Man. And some of the other first wave figures. That was last year. Like, look what's happened. And even in the panel, they talked about how, because there was like a Q&A at the end, which was like a lot of softballs, but there's some good stuff in there. Like, they asked like what vehicles they were going to get. And they kind of mentioned, well, if you look, we've kind of been at an average of 3 vehicles a year. So they kind of want to keep to some of those averages. They also talk about play sets and how that's a little bit trickier. It's not as defined as that, where they kind of have to share play sets across all of their lines. So kind of, I think what you said, John, maybe there'll be an Imagine X one or something like that. That might be where the next big play set goes to. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd never say that Origins is better than classics. It's just different.
It's just different.
It's yeah. And classics is through with. You could, if you hadn't collected it, in theory, you could go and collect it over the next 20 years, little by little.
Yeah.
And you'll have an end game.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have an end game for Origins. I'm just looking forward to everything that's coming up.
Yeah. SoCal Shaolin. I met SoCal Shaolin at the event. So awesome to see you here. Was able to get Triclops, Sunman, and Duplicat this morning. That's awesome.
Oh, awesome.
My buddy David Varnado on one of my Instagram posts, he called it Fattle Cat, which I freaking love. He's really good at just coming with just funny thing. So he co-wrote the theme song to Geek Dad Life. I'm not okay, but I'm okay with that. That is his song, for what it's worth. Origins Granomir, yes, Origins Granomir would be amazing.
Oh, that would be the best.
Yeah, please. But Caesar is dead to me because he bailed on going to PowerCon. He wasn't there. So Caesar, I love you, but you're dead to me. I want to. His sister came into town. He hasn't seen her in 2 years. I don't care, Caesar. I'm just kidding. Love you, buddy. All right. Let's go the Flying Fist He-Man and the Terra Claws, because more Vac Metal. They were just like all about it, and it looks fantastic. I just hope that again, it's the one that I found that had the busted up shoulder. I hope there's less QC problems. Hopefully.
I'm super excited for this figure, but I think it's safe to say they don't have an action feature.
Yeah, agreed.
But they don't really need it. They don't need that.
I agree,
because the arms were just kind of locked in place. You couldn't really move them outside of that fixed position. These are some of my favorite vintage figures.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Like, one, I think it looks great. And if we're being honest, I think and he does have a full power sword, which is good. I think Darthurian asset. Yep. But if there's something criticism I had for the Flying Fist He-Man, is the action feature made the arms look almost like gangly and outside of his normal frame or whatever.
Oh, the battle armor?
the vintage
Oh, the vintage one, yes.
Because his arms kind of have to hang out of it so he can do the action feature. Which it's not really bad, but his proportions seem a little bit off compared to the rest of the vintage He-Man figures. So I think it's an essential He-Man figure, but it's not. I kind of dig that maybe if they don't go for the action feature here, because the proportions look really, really cool here on this one.
Yeah, it doesn't have that odd torso that was almost too wide with a tiny head, like the battle armor He-Man from Origins.
Michael Miller says they announced they do have their action features, so I guess they're gonna make it happen. Cool.
Oh wow.
I was there at the panel and that one went over me. They kept saying Vac Metal and I was just like blown away by the Vac Metal. But I guess we're getting the action features.
Did you guys tell Super 7 about this Vac Metal thing?
Well, Phineas says, I thought Vac Metal was toxic or planet warming or something and it was banned. Did Mattel just say screw it? I doubt that. I'm sure if there's like, FDA regulations or the what did Walter Peck work for? The EPA. I'm sure if there's some type of regulations, they wouldn't let him do it. So maybe they found a new way to do it that's not going to kill the planet.
I'm sure it's probably just a different method. I'm sure it's something they didn't have in the 80s.
Yeah,
exactly. We get the same result of for the look of it.
But for what it's worth, I try to pay attention to science and stuff like that. Yes, the planet's warming and we might all kill ourselves that way, but there's still a chance maybe we can fix that. But remember the ozone in the 80s? Like we're all worried the ozone is going to like tear a hole and we're all going to die because we're
by
the sun.
that was like every year in class.
Exactly. Absolutely. But they did a bunch of regulation. They changed a bunch of the products and the hole is closing. We've actually saved a lot of the ozone and it's healing itself. So
and we're trapping the heat in. That's the problem. That wasn't a hole, that was a vent.
It was a chimney. Anyway, so they stopped the Vac Metal and the hairspray. We saved the ozone, and now I guess we just got to fix the next thing. Oh my gosh! All right, Silverhawks were killing us. It was under our nose the whole time. Oh my god. Anyway, all right.
I do like the head. We're not getting the same old He-Man head in everything. We'll get that, the wind-blown hair.
Exactly. Like I have the Battle Armor He-Man with that head. I haven't opened it yet, though. I'm so behind on toys. I'll talk about it at the end of the show. I do want to ask the crew here what their thoughts are. All right. Terra Claws Skeletor. Is this another head sculpt? This one looks, or is this the one the Battle Armor came with? I can't remember. But more of the new Vac Metal, whatever they're calling it, the non-ozone killing Vac Metal. But thoughts here. They didn't put the claws on, which is kind of like maybe they didn't have those finished yet. They had them in the slideshow. I'll pull those up in a second. But any thoughts there?
I like it. I think that the head is the new one that's coming out on the basic Skeletor cards. But when they did the Terra Claws Skeletor, even with the vintage one, the classics one, the head was the hood purple, the face was yellow. There was very little highlights. There was only just the blackening of the teeth. Right. They didn't do any of the shading from the green to the yellowish. So I think that's why it just looks a little strange.
Yeah. It kind of looks like the Frank Langella Skeletor a little bit, It just looks like somebody's face is behind the mask or something.
Right. It's like bad makeup Skeletor.
It's like fat Elvis. It's just starting to get sweaty. The makeup's starting to cake a little bit. Rest in peace, Elvis. Rest in peace. And honestly, when I first glanced at it in person, I thought he was missing a tooth, and I was like, "Oh my god, where's Molar? Where's?"
Is that the Easter egg that we're getting a Molar?
Right.
It does look like they use a little bit too much black wash on,
Mhm.
on one spot.
Yeah, because it looks like like you say, my Pert Plus He-Man. Forgot about Pert Plus. Oh my god. Anyways, Oliver, I hope Mattel brings the MOTU Origins weapons and accessories pack. That way we can rearm our MOTU Origins figures in case of breakage or loss. Yeah, I think I'm surprised they haven't done that. Yeah, that seems like a pretty softball, easy kind of thing that people would buy. We'll go through some of the panel stuff after this because I think there's some things that do kind of reveal themselves with that. But anyway, all right, we've done this. Okay, Stratos, we're talking about a little bit. I couldn't really get in there and get in front of him because he was kind of facing the side. But this looks pretty close to done. Like, this does not look painted. This looks actual, casted plastic. But thoughts here on the mini comics version of Stratos?
This is totally my preferred one. It'll take the place of the regular version of Stratos. I just think his skin tone is a lot better than the gray.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I wish, and they don't have it on any of them, but they need like a foot, like a non-booty foot version,
like a claw, or like
like a hairy hobbit foot or something. Because in the mini comics,
oh yeah, he has toes.
Yeah, he has like toes and like very hairy.
Mm-hmm.
So like they splurge and give me some hobbit's feet on here. Just go get some of those old Toy Biz ones. Like cast it down, just throw them on there. I think it'll work perfect.
It's like they did the Ular figure for classics, where they gave like it was He-Man, but he had like exposed toes. Exactly. It was strange to see.
It's true. It's true, but I want it.
Yeah, they should have went that far.
Yeah,
because then they can use it all. We can get skeletos. We can get toes on everybody.
Exactly. Where's the toes? Where's the toes? That's all I'm asking.
Because it just looks like he's wearing ankle socks.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Which, again, big fan of ankle socks, but I just feel it doesn't quite. This is, again, I think it's a great figure. But one little thing, I think it's that. All I know is if Quentin Tarantino was running a line, we would have had the most detailed feet on these.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And then I think the last one, Buzz Off, arguably one of the most boring characters, but I think they did again, looks like he has an articulated baby claw.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 baby claws. And I think he looks pretty good. What's your thoughts on Buzz Off?
Yeah, he looks great. We finally get 2 baby claws, both turning, so he can hold his axe the correct way instead of this weird sideways, like he's in a gang shooting. And that torso is shared with Whiplash, so I'm sure he's right around the corner.
Right, exactly, like all the part just this close. It's happening because that was one of your picks, right? I think Whiplash was one of yours, wasn't it? Or maybe
Whiplash is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, so it's there. They're like 90% there.
Yeah,
just need a tail and a head, and they're ready to go.
He looks great. I hope his mask helmet kind of stays on secure. Mm-hmm. That's probably the worst part about the vintage figure. Just kind of.
Well, I did want to ask about that because if you look at his head, it looks like it goes over his little ear, these little antennas. So maybe that's how it attaches. Because maybe you'll have antennas.
Oh yeah, maybe the antennas go through it.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it looks. Yeah.
Here's hoping that'd be cool.
That's my thoughts there. All right, so that's what they have in display case. Other origin stuff. Let me pull up some of the slides from the show. To panel. Let me pull those up quick. And
2 little preteen claws.
Anyways, all right. Let's share screen. Pick the right. Oh, that's a movie. Sorry. Here we go. So when we saw this, here's the terror claws with the actual claws. Maybe they didn't have them ready, but clearly they had the action feature set and the little skeleton head thing. But they look great. I think they look fantastic, and no midriff here on the armor, which I think is great. But one of our picks from last week was chosen here, the Origin Stridor. And and if you follow me on Instagram, I was like, articulated ankles. So not only is there like knee articulation, but they gave us articulated ankles, which is fantastic. Was really pumped for that. They're giving us blast effects to go on the little guns. 2 different face shields. I think they said like, toy version and comics version or something, maybe Filmation's version. I can't remember exactly what. And then the Grayskull piece, it shows it right here on the back of the art. It has a little nub on the back, so it tucks under that little shelf thing on your Castle Grayskull. So they are, utilizing that kind of little lip that our Origins Castle Grayskulls have to connect these little base pieces, which I think is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. I think didn't we talk about that?
We did.
How it has that lip, that sort of gap to fill in. And they said like they have plans for that whole thing, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
He looks great. I love the sort of, what do you call it, like a flight stand, or just to have him rearing up.
Exactly. I again, like Stridor it's a classic. I'm not going to deny it's a classic. And I think I mentioned it somewhere. Like Stridor is just one of those toys that even if a friend didn't like He-Man, they somehow had a Stridor. It's like Leech and Stridor. Every box of toys from the 80s has a Stridor in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it's how it happened. But I also think it's kind of a boring figure. It doesn't have any movement or anything. It's just kind of like it's like one of those like Breyer horses or whatever the girl. But this has articulation. It looks like it has great paint apps, blast effects, display stand. This thing's fantastic. I think this is a home run, and it makes me really excited about the character.
Yeah, same here. I wish we saw a figure with it for scale.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
that would have been nice. But this is a home run. You're right. This is awesome. And of course, Night Stalker will be right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
But what will he come with? Will he come with a base that can attach to an eventual Snake Mountain?
Maybe.
But finally, articulated ankles. We're gonna have a weird.
They needed
one leg up Stridor.
Yes, they need to go that, and they need to go back and fix Battle Cat and Panther. It's a travesty that you have the articulated ankles here, and the Battle Cat and Panther do not. Make a deluxe one and do it. Do it.
I think that's why this is the price point that it is.
You're right. Yep.
Because this is $40, I think, $39.99.
Mm-hmm.
So we're paying $15 for ankles, just like we did for flocking.
Yeah. Yep. So, but I'll gladly pay that.
Oh yeah.
Than a Battle Cat doing this. It's running.
I know they should go back and add some ankles. I mean, they went back and they fixed the knees that we all complained about.
Yep.
The weird skin flap knees. Now we need ankles. That's all we're asking for.
Ankles and toes. Hashtag
ankles and toes. don't tag Quentin in that, because that'll go right off the rails.
Don't everyone in the chat, just don't tell Quentin Tarantino about ankles and toes. It's just, this is between us and Mattel. Ankles and toes. Leave Quentin Tarantino and Rex Ryan out of it. So. All right. And then other things from other parts of this panel. It was lame, absolutely lame that they were not there. Let me just talk about that for a second, because it was exciting. Again, this is the first convention I've been to since 2019 San Diego Comic-Con. And part of the fun is going to panels and to have people that create things or whatever, give us previews for something that's coming up new. And there's like some really magical moments that happen when people in the audience ask questions or they reveal something. Like some of my favorite moments from conventions is in these types of panels. Like sometimes nothing happens and it's not a big deal, but there's been some really cool moments in going to like Comic-Con and seeing panels and where they surprise people. And there's just that energy that happens when you're live in front of real live people. It's magical. It really is. And I felt really bad. I think somebody said in the chat earlier, but like, I guess an intern or somebody came up and was setting everything up. And he's like, okay, so the Mattel people couldn't be here today, but we got a video for you guys. And there's just kind of like groans throughout the room.
It's like, didn't they get the memo? It's PowerCon.
Yeah. And it's literally, we Ubered from LAX to the Anaheim Convention Center. We drove by the Mattel headquarters. You see it off the 105 or whatever it was. I think it was the 105. You see the Mattel headquarters. It's a big building with a big old Mattel plastered on the side. And I guess you could argue the whole COVID thing or whatever, I guess. But we're all there. I would hopefully assume most of our vaccines we're all masked. Like, this is a chance to show it in front of everybody. And I felt like it was a bit of a letdown. They didn't do it, or they weren't there to present it, I will say. And it wasn't even live. I think CAF, dang, they can't even do a live Zoom. It wasn't even live. It was a pre-recorded thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if you're going to say maybe you could, the COVID scare, whatever, that's fine. But it was pre-taped. And that to me means, I don't know, they didn't have the guts to do it live. I don't know. I feel like that was a miss. Whatever the reasons are, I'm sure there's legitimate reasons. And I want to try and be understanding, but there's something about doing it live in front of people and the magic that can happen when you do it that way. That is missed. And if they were afraid that there's pushback because of whatever, it wasn't there. It really wasn't there. Like, it was really cool to be amongst He-Man fans, like, or Masters of the Universe fans that weren't griping about every little thing. Like, it was a really cool, it kind of went to show you that it was kind of a vocal minority that was just effusing so much negativity during the whole Revelations thing. And again, I think there's fair criticism to be made. I'm not going to say there's not fair criticism made, but just the kind of the vitriol and just super negativity, it was not there at all. And I feel like if they were maybe trying to avoid some criticism, I think they missed out because the audience was really engaged. All the announcements, there was a lot of cheers and a lot of excitement. And I think it was a big miss to not be there, but to not even do it live, not even do a live stream or something like that. I feel like that was a missed opportunity by Mattel. And maybe it's because PowerCon's run by somebody else that's not Mattel. Whatever the reason, I don't care. Clearly you care about this. You're doing great stuff. And us as Masters of the Universe fans, MOTU fans, give us some credit. I think it would have been much more fun if it was kind of live and in person.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't want to go, just for fear of the backlash that, went around for weeks on end.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's all on them.
Yeah.
They were there to represent, they should have been there to represent their brand.
Yeah.
So,
and I think again, the only groans were on some of the exclusives, but even then it wasn't that bad. I really, the cheers far outweighed the groans. And again, I think if you're a creator, it's important to stand up for what you create and what you believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, I think, and even someone should call Spectre, during the time, I think there's a lot of fair criticism of Scott Neitlich for a lot of different reasons, but clearly he brought the thing to life and was like the person that made it happen, for better or worse. but he would show up every Comic-Con, every PowerCon, and get up there in front of people and talk about the line and present the stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't know the reasons. It may have been no reason like we're saying. It may have been whatever. There may have been a multitude of reasons why they didn't do it. But I think whatever happens next year, however it shakes out, they should do it live.
I'm sure next year they will be representing at San Diego.
Yep.
And PowerCon. I'm sure, things will work itself out, whatever the case was.
Nick Dillinger, this is a great call. I'm glad you reminded me of it. The housekeeping felt like they were dunking on Scott's speculation comments. Absolutely.
That was a Scott just give it up kind of comment.
Clearly they're over it. And yeah, and I had a video, but it won't let me play because maybe it will. I was trying to load it up, but it's a different codec than the player or the service I use. It's called StreamYard. Then it won't allow. But let me see if this works. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But let's see.
Secondly, we know Masterverse is coming out. We know that the kids animated CGI show product line is coming out. Doesn't mean we're going to discontinue Origins. We love making these figures. We're going to keep making them as long as you guys.
So yeah, that was they were clearly ticked off, sick of it. But again, be here to tell us in person. That's all.
Yeah. And Spectre already made a rebuttal video.
Oh, he did?
He did. Yeah, I watched it earlier today.
I literally flew in this morning from LA, so I have not done anything. But I'm sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think Jonathan said it here. Funny Scott still brought up on a recent vid. Whew. Hey, listen, we've had him on the show. Very nice guy. Nothing but thanks for him and what he did for Classic. Amazing line. So many positive contributions. And so I will not get involved in the tiff there, but Scott and I, from what we've interacted with, a very kind, good person. So, but maybe he has his perspective, but it seems like Mattel, this is what they said here, is like MOTU's not going away. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I would lean more towards what Mattel is saying, but you never know. And I guess always bow down to our corporate overlords. Justin, not sure why they don't sue him. It's tough. Like, you could do a cease and desist, but your range on that varies. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they could do that for just his opinions. Because it's like he says in every video, these are just my opinions. These are just my thoughts. There's no certainty to anything that he says.
Yeah, if you're doing the opinion take, that kind of gives you this little sphere of protection for free speech and stuff like that. And in America, anyways. I can't remember if Justin's Canadian or American, but anyways, First Amendment. As long as you're not stating it as fact, you're saying as opinion, you kind of have this sphere of protection from a legal perspective. Now he's saying this is definitively the case, and he kind of does a little bit sometimes, but Mattel might not think it's worthwhile. It all depends if the company also feels like it's worthwhile to spend the money on kind of going that route. So we'll see. But anyway, again, I think you kind of take it or leave it. I think there's fair criticisms to be made on the Scott Knightlick front. But again, that's I think that's between them. Not gonna get in the middle of it. All right, just let's round out these things real quick. Because I do have pictures of all the Revelation. I think Revelation stole the show. Personally, Revelation stole the show. Period. The end.
Yep.
And so I'll go around that a little bit. We'll close on Revelations. The thing you talked about, John, you've been talking about this for a year, or maybe since the Crystal Skeletor, maybe. That Origin should do Origin stuff on Mattel Creations or something, like make it like Maddie.
Yep.
And it became official at this panel. So they released it today. The comic book Triclops. I think it was really cool. I love the back card art, just kind of evoking the mini comic, which is awesome. But can I just do a little bit of a happy dance?
I know you must be really excited.
I was so. This was me in the audience. Was super excited that Wondar was getting his due. So clearly they kind of probably expected Wondar to happen, and they probably had him ready to go. Because Triclops is first, and then Wondar is second. Remind me this character's name. I'm blanking on it right now.
Koldar?
Koldar? Okay.
I think it's Koldar. I thought at first it was Goldar, like Power Rangers Goldar. But then when I was reading in some comments, I saw Koldar with a K a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know he's a Filmation character. I remember him, but I don't really remember much about him. I mean, he's cool looking. I really like the Filmation stuff in classics.
You're right. That's great. But personally, could care less, because to me, it's all about that Wonder Bread He-Man, baby.
And I love the nod to the vintage Manny weapons.
Yes. I'm so pumped for this figure. You all don't have any idea. I'm really pumped.
You know what would be perfect? If his card back was the colors of a Wonder Bread package. You know, where it was like blue and red and yellow on like a white background with like the circles. Oh man, that would be too much.
Yep, agreed. Wondar is a really niche character, absolutely, but I've had this obsession with this character for so long, and I'm upset that I never bought a figure when it was cheaper. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll see, but I'm going to do tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to do my top 5 things I would buy from PowerCon, and basically I found 5 things that if money were no object, I would have bought at PowerCon. And I think the total tabulation of all the costs of everything, if I bought everything, is like over $20,000 probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there was some transactions that happened at this show that made Colleen say, okay, Jay, you're not that bad. Gonna save that for that episode, so just be on the lookout for that. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, click on the bell icon so you're notified when the episode drops. But yeah, so that's that. But I think for the people that maybe have not had a Wonder Bread, or maybe don't have the classics version, this is awesome. And I'm even more pumped because this is in scale of the original figures. I'm so pumped about this figure. And yes, it is a online exclusive. But I hope I can pick this one up.
I wonder if whatever the numbers that they did for Triclops today, if they'll, if they saw that and, obviously it's sold out in 2 minutes.
Yep.
Will they, add 1/3 more? Just because they know the demand. I think this figure will sell way more.
Yes.
Than a mini comics Triclops.
I hope they take it and times it by 0.3 or whatever, 0.5, whatever they do. I agree, because I get it that Triclops won the vote, but I would have to think there's more demand for Wondar than a comic version of Triclops.
Yeah. Because I don't know anybody that voted for this Triclops.
Yeah. So I agree. They needed to take whatever sold and how quickly it sold, use some algorithm or whatever to decide what your production quantity of this figure should be. It's spring 2022. Maybe they've already set those quotas. I don't know, but I hope they've been thinking ahead on that one, because you're right. You're 100% right. The demand is going to be greater.
Yep. And they did a 5 limit on Triclops for some reason.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Maybe that's how they were just hoping to get rid of them quick.
If
they put the quantity high, the scalpers will just get as many.
Yeah, right. What are your thoughts here, Michael Miller? Better than a Target exclusive? Do you think Mattel Creation exclusive greater than Target exclusive?
Is it a better idea?
Better experience, but just better, I guess, in general.
Personally, for me, yes. I wouldn't say that for everybody.
Yeah.
I got lucky today. I got lucky with the Revelation Scare Glow.
Yeah, you've had a good streak.
And I don't live close to a Target. That's my only contribution to this. I can't really speak to it. I'd never find anything when I do drive to a Target.
Yeah.
So I definitely prefer Mattel Creations over Target.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great point about Target too, because Targets are generally only in a more kind of concentrated city. Whereas Walmarts are kind of more distributed, more equitably, I think, across most towns. So yeah, something like this, like online, it is probably more accessible. It can be stressful too. Like I feel like Target exclusives, they are generally pretty healthy, usually. So if you kind of can get to one pretty frequently, like look at the Keldor Cronus 2-pack. Like there's a bajillion of them.
That thing is littering the shelves and littering eBay. If people just had patience for that, that set would be doing much better, because everyone just went out, started hunting it, and bought everyone that they saw.
Yeah.
And just cleared the shelves. Mattel caught wind of that and said, "Well, we better make more."
Yep.
And they told everybody, "There's more coming. There's more coming." They told us 2 months in advance. There's more coming.
They did.
They showed up. Now they're, I'm not going to say they're worthless, but they're not worth the $30.
Nope. Which is a shame, because it's a great set, and they'll go the other way on future exclusives probably.
Yeah, like I think if it's that exclusive, it should be like, this is what the numbers were set at, and that's what we're sticking with. But in that same thought, they should just put it on Mattel Creations. Figure out the amount that they need to get.
Yeah. Make
that number that it's enough for everyone. Yes, there's going to be the scalpers that buy them up. But say if they needed 100,000 pieces, and Target exclusive, they were doing like 60,000 pieces. Well, if they know they can sell out 100,000 pieces in a day, and they'll last the day, just stop selling to Target. If they know the amount they need to make, just stick with your one avenue.
Yeah.
And it's your own, it's your own marketplace. You're not selling them to Target and then Target's making the money. You're making the money.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how they play it out, but I agree. It would make, if I was Mattel, if I was Mr. Matt Mattel, CEO and president. So I would agree. I'd probably do that, because it's, again, direct to consumer. More money is getting in your pocket. Yes, there's the stress of it. It's on you, but I think that would be the better way of doing things. But it all depends on, again, Mr. Matt Mattel. Does he care more now than in the Scott Knight, like Matty Collector days, where from Scott's perspective and recollection, they didn't give two craps. And by the running of it, it definitely felt that way. But it seems like Mattel Creations is a better run site so far than Matty Collector, knock on wood. Where I've seen a lot of comments so far where people have felt that Mattel Creations has been a better experience than trying to get a Target exclusive. So
yeah. Well, there was an article, I think it was the New York Times this week, with the newest president of Mattel. And they talked about the bringing back He-Man and how well it's doing. And then, they talked about how they're bringing back Matt Mason and a bunch of these old stale properties that they've owned forever that don't do anything with. And they are paying much more attention now to what they're doing for themselves, rather than just, kind of making ends meet. So I think that Mattel Creations will definitely be where we're going to see a lot more. And and dump Target.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with Brendan here. At least you can find exclusives at Target, unlike Walmart. To me, it's like if I had to rank it, again, I haven't had success with Mattel Creations, but all my friends have, so that's good. But Mattel Creations, Target, like Mattel Creations, Target, you can't even see it. Walmart, way down here. Like Walmart's the worst.
I love my Walmart.
I know your Walmart's amazing. They sell it to you for a nickel a figure.
And I did find the flocked Panther without a problem. But that's like the one thing I find. Like when there's Mattel exclusives from Walmart, I do okay. But I also go to Walmart at 6 a.m.
That's true. You get your first dibs usually.
Yeah, and find a 1999 episode 1 battle droid.
All right, just one last thing here. I feel bad for Val. That's all I'm going to say. I feel really bad for Val, who runs PowerCon, taken to the rails on these exclusives this year. One, how quickly they sold out, and just all the vitriol thrown in his way. And then they get delayed on the shipping container. They're sitting on a ship. They weren't here this weekend. I get that's not his fault. And then Mattel's like, oh, don't worry. We made another run. And we're going to sell it on our website. And Val and all the emails and communications is like, we're going to need a couple weeks to kind of get the new system set up. We're going to contact you. We'll let you know. But, hey, shipping's going to be expensive, yada, yada, yada. How many of these exclusives is Val going to be sitting on because of how many people picked up the same figures today? I think it was $7 and the shipping was really cheap. And now Val's going to be sitting on a shipping container of these figures because everyone got them today on Mattel Creations, and they're going to cancel their order and get a refund from Val in a week or two.
Yeah, he is in for a logistical nightmare.
Oh,
because like you said, anybody that ordered them from PowerCon, from the initial sale, that say that they weren't going to PowerCon, they paid for the shipping initially.
Yeah,
they just jumped on Mattel, got lucky, bought everything, started their request for a refund, and I don't think Val's going to be in any kind of trouble. I think Big Bad will definitely buy everything. Like they've done with every other PowerCon exclusive. They did get everything from him. But imagine just the confusion of who canceled this, the lists of names he's going to have to go through of because I assume none of that is going to end up being very organized.
No,
over the people who were supposed to pick up.
Yep.
Because if you were picking it up at PowerCon and you get there, they had your name on the list and what you bought, the quantity, they just hand it to you. The sale is already done. Now he has to go through all of that, every single one of them, and figure out, all right, now we got to ship them, 1,000 boxes all over the world, because who's going to do all the shipping? It's just crazy to think, like, what is Val going to back a truck up to his house, and it's going to be one container full of horde packs and one container full of duplicates.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel terrible for him.
Yeah. It's a awful situation. I don't think Mattel gives him enough due for what that convention is. And yeah, so Val, sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. Like, this is really crappy. A lot of people are thinking they'll still sell. So, hopefully if a lot of people cancel, you can put it more up and sell those. We'll see. Michael Miller, Val can put them up on eBay. They're going for crazy prices. True. I don't know if that's quite ethical. I don't know if he'd do that. I don't think that's his style. Eric, they'll sell. So yeah, I guess it, if there's a lot of cancellations and he's sitting on a lot of inventory, I'm sure he could sell them out. But it's just the hassle of everything like that. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. and don't go on eBay and pay eBay prices for this stuff. Yeah. Because once once everybody has these in hand by the end of the year,
yes,
and everybody sees how many sets are out in the wild, it's going to be the Chronos Skeletor pack, Keldor pack all over again. You know,
John,
they won't be that dramatically low.
But you're 100% right. Like this, if anything, if anybody didn't get into Mattel Creations and they didn't get them at PowerCon, wait. Do not pay inflated eBay prices. Do not, because you have they've said they made another run of these figures for Mattel Creations today. The production on these, like the quantity, has to be huge, right? Like it has to be more than last year's PowerCon exclusives.
Yeah, and in the panel when they announced this, they said this is probably the last time we're going to make them. Probably. They didn't say this is the last time. So do not pay scalper prices. You're right, John. Once these start shipping from Mattel Creations, once all of the chaos of Valve's PowerCon exclusive situation susses out, I think there's gonna be a healthy supply of these figures. Maybe take us to task 3 months, 4 months from now if we're completely wrong, but I think you're right. I think it's gonna be more of the Killer Cronus 2-pack than, I don't know. What's a really hard to find one? Is there really a hard to find one in the history of MOTU? Of PowerCon exclusives?
Any exclusive?
Any exclusive? I mean, the Super 7 3-packs are going for quite a bit of money now.
You're right. Those were, I was like, wow, that's a lot.
But they weren't at first.
Yeah.
They were going for about what they sold for the first 3 years. But a lot more people jumped on the Masters bandwagon. Tons of collectors came out of the woodwork in the past couple of years. But yeah, I bet around the first of next year, we're going to see a glut of these on Big Bad Toy Store. It was the same case with the green Granomir. They had, that was a PowerCon exclusive. There was a ton of them left over. Even though there was a red Granomir out there already, they made the green one, and then that green one sat on Big Bad Toy Store for 2 years. Yeah, and he ended up going for like less than or $10 under what he was at PowerCon.
Yeah, patience. We all complain about the scalp whore, but this is your chance. This is your chance to not do it, because it's almost guaranteed you can at least get it for retail, if maybe not a little bit less. But you're gonna have to be patient. It may take 4 months, but patience. The end. Now we'll get off our soapbox. All right. Real quick, because we're gonna end on Revelation or Masterverse news. I freaking loved the Sunman reveal. I thought it was fantastic. So let me pull up that stuff right now. First, I did want to there we go. It was really neat in the panel. Again, they missed their opportunity by not doing this in person, but the crowd was great. Like when they announced it. So let me play this here.
Excited to announce that Sunman and the Rulers of the Sun are going to be joining He-Man and the Masters of the
So it was.
If you don't know who Sunman,
so it's a big announcement of the Sunman. Really cool. And the rest of those figures, I just think it is another kind of home run for what Mattel is doing with this line. But I think it's just so freaking cool that we're getting the story behind Sunman and how well I think they've kind of done this Mattel Creation exclusive that went online today. They're gonna have a normal retail release too. I think this looks more like the normal retail release, but just really pumped, really pumped for this figure. But what's your thoughts, John?
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. Not only just for the figure, but the story of how the figure came to be.
Exactly.
And that the woman that made this figure is getting like proceeds from this.
Yep.
You know, it's not just a Mattel bought it and, you know, is making it and they own it for, you know, in perpetuity. I think that she's going to be involved with this, you know, creative process now. It's like, you know, it probably came to her like, you know, out of the blue.
Yeah.
You know, I assume like, hey, you remember Sunman that you made back in the 80s? We want to revive that and actually put them out there on Front Street.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they showed the video during the stream, right? It was a really cool video.
Yep.
They showed that. Okay, cool. So yeah, I thought the video was great. The story was great. How they brought him back was great. And the fact that it's not just Sunman, they're bringing Pighead and a few of the others. Hopefully they bring even more and more and more. And again, I think the MOTU fan base is a really diverse group. And even there is people of all different backgrounds and races. And I was sitting next to a gentleman that was from Latin descent, and he was so excited that they're bringing these characters in because that was their, you know, the representation was so small back then that this was a really important line to a lot of people, and I think it's really cool that Mattel is bringing Sunman and all these other characters in. It's an amazing story, and the fact that it's a really cool toy, it's got a great history behind it. I think it's a home run on so many fronts. So the Sunman reveal, everything about it, even though we knew it was coming, I think was really neat. And the fact that, yes, it was a Mattel Creation exclusive with this cool, like the same way they did with the She-Ra figure last year. Yes, there's that, but there's going to be a normal retail release as well, which I think is great, plus the other figures. So they kind of hit all the right points. They gave us the deluxe version for Mattel Creations, and they're going to give us a normal retail one. Maybe you couldn't get that one, and more people will have access to it. So just across the board, really, really cool.
Yep. Definitely. Kudos to Mattel.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's really neat. So really, really cool. All right. Last thing.
Before real quick, because I don't know much about it, and I don't even know if it was a real thing because I saw a still. But there was a screenshot of something knockoffs of the universe. Did you see that?
No. I didn't go to all the panels. That could have been a different panel.
Yeah, I just saw a screenshot, and I was like, does that mean they are going through like a huge catalog of you know, Remco and Sunco or Suco, all these other you know, Remco type He-Man bodies?
If they did, like, again, like if this is a step towards that direction, 100% agree. 100% agree. Nick Dillinger similarly, but I love if Mattel continued the representation and brought in other new characters from artist designers of different ethnic backgrounds. MOTU has always shined with variety. Yet, 100% agree. And that's where, you know, the people that criticize, you know, whatever, like King Grayskull changing from white to black or whatever, like it's just like, again, you're fine with lizard people and all these different people. Like it's important. Like, one, the new King Grayskull looks badass, and two, like it's important to have characters that any kid can be like, I see myself in that character. I could be that character. That's important. That's really important. So yeah, bully for Mattel on doing that. Okay. But I don't think I remember seeing that slide though. So I do not know.
I'll have to try and find a picture of it because it was just like the regular Masters of the Universe logo.
Yeah.
And then over where it says Masters, it was like, it said like knockoffs. And it looked like it was like written in highlighter almost like, but it was on a slide on the screen. But that was it. I only saw a screenshot of it. And then at first I think somebody photoshopped it. That's not real. And I'm getting excited over nothing.
I think Warrior Beasts, like Master Blaster says, I think there's so much potential to, like, again, if you're talking about how could Origins maybe at least put itself on par with Classics, bringing in all of this third-party stuff that obviously was directly inspired by MOTU, and we as collectors collect those figures because they are, you know, very much inspired by MOTU, like bringing that in and utilizing the Origins buck system, which is a fantastic buck system. Oh, chef's kiss. It would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. All they got to do is sculpt heads. That's it.
Right? Exactly. The Sun Man and the other characters are proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks great. Again, the Sun Man looks great. So please, yeah, I hopefully this is, again, just them continuing to kind of just bring in more and more and more. Because, that would just, again, if we're talking about how could Origins compete with Classics, that's where it could do it.
Yep.
Because Classics never had the support and maybe the backing to pull off something like that. But clearly, they're doing it with Origins. So, yeah, 100% agree.
Eric saw it. I'm not alone. I didn't imagine this.
Okay, all right. We're I saw the slide, so I don't. Maybe it was a different panel. Again, I don't know. It's happening live.
So much going on.
So many things going on. All right.
All right. Let's get into it.
Getting
Revelations.
We are like way over time right now, and guys, this is on me. I flew in today. Not as sharp maybe as I usually am. But can we talk about New Eternia? Out of all, like, what makes we talked about it when Masterverse was first unveiled last year. It's like, well, it's not just this Revelation; it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
These two Revelation figures and what they talked about with them. Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped for New Eternia because it could be so much cool character designs. And they even said it's like we could just do cool character designs because they're cool toys. Super excited for the Revelations New Eternia versions.
It looks so good. And you know what? When we seen these figures, it felt like when we first seen Classics.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, when we seen the first He-Man, which the Horseman sculpted, and it wasn't even part of anything yet.
Yeah.
They just did it, for fun and put it in the case. And there was no media behind it. We didn't know what it was about.
Yeah.
We just knew, okay, that's He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a new line.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we get 100 of these.
Yes.
I want so many.
Yeah.
This figure looks incredible.
And in the slide there was more, but they have multiple heads. Like, just the potential is so crazy. And again, it looks so freaking cool. And let me go to the Skeletor real quick as well. He's on the other side. Oh, look at this. And he has a little beard. Oh, it's so cool. And it gives you different looks and everything like that. Like, I'm really excited for New Eternia.
Yeah. His Havoc staff looks so good.
Yeah.
Like, it's got the longer horns. It's, oh man.
Evil Villain says they both the New Eternia Skeletor and He-Man are up for pre-order right now, which is great on BBTS. It's awesome. But what's so exciting about this is Classics was not necessarily to its detriment, but was beholden to the classic versions of the vintage figures, right? Like, that's what they're inspired by. But New Eternia can kind of just be like, let's just make a really freaking cool Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. I think that's when we first heard about Masterverse. In our greatest expectations for the line, I think that's what we were probably picturing in our heads, right?
Yep. Because looking at the Skeletor, you never really think about a Skeletor that isn't wearing a hood.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about Skeletor wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
He's multiple heads. He has like a more normal hooded Skeletor head that he'll come with.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of accessories. And they mentioned how Skeletor grow facial hair. They kind of based it off of the original sketches, I think, for Demo Man or something like that, right? I think I'm saying that. And the Viking He-Man, again, just the potential. These two figures are amazing, and I guess they're up on pre-order now. But the potential for what they could do with New Eternia takes again, we're talking about what could compete with Classics, like another thing that could compete with Classics in a way that Classics could never do because it was basing itself off vintage figures. Like, just giving us wholly unique versions. They're clearly inspired by what made He-Man special, but that to me is the most exciting part about Masters of the Universe, and So I'm super pumped about New Eternia.
Yep.
Could be so freaking cool. The figures are great. Like the bucks and everything. I think the Massiverse figures are fantastic. For $20 retail?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I super pumped about that.
Yeah. When they designed these bucks, they really got it right. You know, because I think for so long we got so used to the ab crunch that's on, you know, DC Classics.
Yeah.
The He-Man Classics on Marvel Legends. It's such a different style.
Yeah.
Buck that, you know, we could get years out of this.
100%. And that's exciting. That's really exciting if you're a MOTU fan. And then going to more Revelations figures, the retail release Skeletor, kind of a womp in that we talked about, like, okay, this is not going to be as full featured as whatever, but no wire cape. The only thing that's glow in the dark is the head. They said they only said the head is glow in the dark in that panel. I remember that. No splitting swords, even though the King Grayskull will come with that, but they are different. You have the Sigh of Doom. He looks to use the same buck, though, I think. I won't know until have they come in yet, by the way, the Scareglows?
No, I just got the shipping notification today.
All right. So I don't know they have them in hand, but it looks pretty good though. So if you miss out on the exclusive, I think this is still a pretty good Scareglow. But again, bummer if they didn't make the paint glow in the dark here on the skeleton parts.
Yeah, Scareglow. That's what makes him Scareglow.
I know.
You took away his Scareglow.
I know. So that's a bit of a womp womp, but it looks pretty good though. But it will pale in comparison to the exclusive one though.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a good looking figure. If we hadn't seen the other one already, this would be like, oh, that's awesome. But why'd they not make his body glow? But now we know what should have been.
Fisto, no vac metal, but he looks pretty good.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks kind of plain. Like he kind of looks like the Super 7 Fisto, the Filmation version.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's because it could have done the non-vac metal fist. Like it's kind of a bit meh, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I think it'll be a good placeholder on a shelf. Like it'll look good. The more war-torn merman. This is a pass for me personally. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll buy it, but I won't like go crazy to find it.
Yeah, same.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It looks like it should be more like a merman, one of his warriors. That doesn't look like it's merman. Missing the armor. I mean, I can get past the.
This was him in the show later on, right? Like after the war or whatever, after everything went down.
Yeah. But they should have made him a deluxe.
Yeah,
with armor, with the original head.
Yeah. Speaking of deluxe figures, the King Grayskull is badass. So it seems to use the same wired cape that the Mattel Creations exclusive Scareglow. He has the split swords from the Scareglow, even though these are more like what we saw in the show versus the glow in the dark ones that we got on the Mattel Creations one. But it looks so freaking cool. But unfortunately, it is a Target exclusive, so I have to officially give it a. But hopefully, it is relatively easy to find. We can get it for as close to retail as possible. But I think it looks really good. What's your thoughts here on King Grayskull?
I'm super psyched for this. They did a really good job. The dreads look amazing. The fur, the wired cape. It's a great looking figure.
Even whoever posed it didn't really, utilize the work. There's like, meh.
Yeah, let's just spread them out.
It's a bat wing, but we know what can be done.
It looks good. I love how they did it's almost the 2000X He-Man logo, even on the shield.
Yep. Figure trap. Do you think King Grayskull could save me some money on my car insurance? Yes. I believe it's the same actor that does the Nationwide. Is it Nationwide or Allstate? Allstate.
Allstate.
And also from Major League. But yes, same actor. with the fur, Okay, Triclops. Now they only have him in this one view here, but the deluxe Triclops and Trapjaw are awesome because you get both. You can fully display both versions of the character. So I really dig that they went that way with Triclops. And Trapjaw, because they had two very distinct looks in the show. That's there, John.
Yeah, exactly. If they gave us just this, this figure would be a hard pass for me.
Absolutely,
super hard pass.
Crash.
But putting him with both looks and in the package, I think he's in his classic look, right? And then the motherboard techno look is like the accessories to the side. So if you are a mint in box collector, having the classic look, I'm sure is probably more important for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%.
But did you notice during the stream that when they showed an overall view of what was coming out for Revelations, and it had Triclops, Trapjaw, and then a box that was blacked out that said TBD or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think that was King Grayskull, because they went from Trapjaw and then they switched slides.
Well,
and then it showed King Grayskull, and it was like that wasn't supposed to be shown. It was supposed to be Triclops.
Well, okay. I will say this. I mean
Trapjaw, rather.
Yeah, they mentioned it in the panel. I have a picture handy of the back of that box because they did talk about it. Here we go. Yep. Okay. They showed the Grayskull box, and they mentioned with Grayskull that, let me stop screen, that there is a character that they did not want to spoil, like they spoiled Skelegod. And it was even on the Grayskull box. So you can see it here. It's blacked out on even that box.
Yep.
So my guess is it's some character in the second half that we haven't seen yet that they don't want to spoil, because they said it this time.
Okay.
That's so. I think that was a good observation. I think it's something else that we don't even know yet. Possibly same way as like Skelegod. Like Skelegod, what the heck is that? Like I feel like it's that. It should be that level of a character.
Right. Curious.
But it definitely felt like, the old Kenner Star Wars figures where they kind of blacked out the little characters. I'm like, ooh, who could that be? I was like, oh no, it's just an Ewok. Who cares?
That's just Lobot.
Yeah. If we had the sad trombone button back then, we would have hit it. King Grayskull, Triclops, and they didn't really have the alternate looks for Trapjaw, but it will be the same thing as Triclops, where you can have the motherboard version and the classic look version. So kudos to them. That's the right move, because we criticize the Beastman of like, and you even said it. You even said it with the Beastman, where okay, you could have had both looks. You could have easily had the post-apocalyptic look and the classic look for Beastman, and we would have gladly probably paid the extra money to have the accessories to do that, right?
Yeah. All we needed was the head and his armor and a whip.
Yep. So clearly they figured that out 100%. Oh, I forgot to do the He Got Two button. By next time I'm going to do it. I want to do the He Got Two. He got two. Let me go to I'll end on my favorites. Yeah, Trapjaw, again, they have him in the motherboard look, but we didn't get the other one. Andra, she looks great. They seem to really dig how this sculpt turned out. The cloth goods were covering her face, so it was hard to tell, but it looks pretty good. Classic look Tila, I think that's essential. Any other thoughts there, John?
Yeah, good move. Smart, just to, appease the people that weren't really crazy about the new look Tila. Try and keep them in the Revelation line.
And she will have the non-tiara version with the hair down that we saw in the episode. So there'll be accessories added to this one as well.
Yep.
I think arguably the star of the show was Stinkor. I freaking love how this figure turned out.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites here. Outside of King Grayskull, he looks incredible.
Right? He looks like the 2000X Classics version that we dreamed of, because the Classics one kind of skimped on a few things, and this looks like we're finally, the Staction looked amazing with the Staction. It looks like we're finally getting a cool looking Stinkor.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit separate from what we're so used to seeing. I mean, I know it's the Mechanic armor. So I always look at that and be like, oh, that's just Mechanix armor on a merman body. But there's just something about this figure that just makes him so separate from every other look he's had. Yeah, it looks, they did a really good job.
Yeah, it just, again, like you see, it has the little containers on the back, the face. It's not just a repainted merman face. The shield looks great. Like he actually can, like, it's a shield he can use, not just some little clip-on thing. Doesn't really work that well.
I love how they extended the fur on his like the loincloth.
Yep.
It's not so much underwear anymore as it is like flowing fur.
Yeah. I think there's argument to make this is the best of what they've shown, which is surprising because it's Stinkor, but I think it just goes to show this is one of those elements where Classics it was at that time in the line where they couldn't go as hard. And they kind of, same criticisms we had with Spikor, where it's like it couldn't go all out. And it looked very much like the vintage figure, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but earlier on you could have different versions, different looks of the characters to kind of get a bit of everything. But and the Spikor looked too much like the vintage one in the Revelations, but this is a case where I think they've knocked it out of the park of getting a look that is different, that is exciting, that makes Masters of the Universe fans that maybe already have the Classics one are definitely going to want to get this one too.
Yep. I think if there wasn't even a Revelation show and now we're just say we're getting new versions of these characters, this is perfect.
Agreed. So there you go. There you have it. That's most of this. God, okay. We barely scratched the surface. Those are the core things of it. Mondo had a bunch of revelations or reveals, which I thought were great. MOTU constructs or mega constructs. A lot of stuff was announced. You can find some of that on, again, my Instagram page at Geek Dad Life, as well as Toy Shiz. Toy Shiz did a great job covering everything. Definitely check out his Instagram page. But again, tons of great stuff revealed. Out of all of it, John, what's your number one thing that you like the most?
The Mondo stuff looks so good.
It does. It looks
really good. But I feel like I'm gonna have to make a hard decision. What do I stop collecting?
Right?
Because there's so much Master stuff coming out.
Yeah, the Mondo Battle Cat. That's my thing. So, okay, I don't want to discount Mondo because what they're doing is incredible. Let me go to their booth here. I was there, seen it in person. Here we go. Like, it's insane. But I can't do Mondo. I just can't afford it. I don't have space, and two, I can't afford it. I can't afford to play that game. I already play enough games of stuff that I can't afford, and I can't. I already have plenty of MOTU. I feel like I've had Classics. Origins is great. Revelation's great. I have Vintage. I can't play the Mondo game.
Yeah, Mondo's like, you buy a character if you love just the character. You're not going to get the line. You're not going to buy everyone. But I suppose the good thing about Mondo is like they release a figure like twice a year. Like we've been seeing that She-Ra for quite a while now, and it's still just a prototype. It took them a long time for Hordak.
Yeah.
But man, they are so good looking. At first, I was not really sold on them when they first showed the first He-Man and the first Man at Arms. I was like, I'm not really into it.
Yeah.
But when I saw the scare glow, it's hard not to want to buy that.
I know. But yeah, again, for those that can afford to collect and have a display of these, good for you. Like, honestly, that's great. That's awesome. I just know I can't. Like, again, there's not enough room, and there's just not enough infinite money. Space Cowboy, Mondo Battle Cat is going to cost a lot of super chats. Yeah, way more super chats than we've ever gotten on this show. No way. There's no way. But again, kudos to Mondo, because it is amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Yep.
But if I did dip the toe, it would be like Battle Cat and He-Man, like Skeletor, like, and that would be it.
Yeah.
But see, then there's a problem. Like, well, if I got that one, then I gotta get scared. And see, I can't. It's a slippery slope.
And it's like, well, they already showed Panther. They showed the drawings, the mock-ups, because Battle Cat's done. So obviously they do Panther. And then they showed that deluxe He-Man that's going to come with the armor for Battle Armor He-Man, Thunder Punch He-Man, and regular version again. So you can have 3 He-Man figures off of one. And then you just, negotiating with yourself. Well, I need this now too, because I have that.
Right. So to me, it's just best to avoid it altogether. But again, for those of you that can swing it, happy for you, because I think these things do look incredible. Mondo, big fan of Mondo in general. Alamo Draft House, I'm blanking on his name, that runs the whole thing, owns it all, is a fan of film, is a fan of the things that we love. So 100% support what they're doing. I just can't afford it. But yeah, yeah, exactly. Once you dip the toe, Jay, but that much closer to jumping in, don't do it. Exactly. Anyway, all right. It's just say no lives on with Jay. Nancy Reagan is smiling. Listen, just say no didn't work, so I can't use that on myself.
What was your favorite thing?
My favorite was the new Eternia stuff. I think, outside of, I was really excited when they said the Wondar. That's just a stupid, silly thing for me. But out of things that were revealed, the new Eternia stuff just has me the most excited, because that's the thing that I think I love the most about Masters of the Universe, is just the creative energy that gets put into the characters, and just like, what weird thing can we do? It looks cool. Let's make it. That's the part about, if I have to pick my favorite element of Masters, it's that. Where it's like, this is a cool idea. Let's just make it. And it's true throughout the entire toy line. We just have this character that doesn't make any sense, but it's so cool that you just throw it in there. And that's, I think, to me, what I love about it. And new Eternia on Masterverse is, it feels like, I hope, but it feels like they're going for that energy. That's how they've described it, and so that's what I'm most excited about. I'm most excited.
Yeah, it's like at the outside the box thinking for Masters, and they went back to that old art, which I gotta say, okay, so they went back to the old art, the original stuff, like the Mark Taylor days.
Yeah,
for the Barbarian, He-Man, and Skeletor. They went back to the old art to do that Street Sharks garbage. What went wrong between those two teams?
Clearly different visionaries. There was one dealer that had a bunch of vintage Street Sharks. I was like, God, these looks like, what were they thinking? Because these are awesome, and whatever they did was a big pile of crap. But you need it for the business. The business doesn't make enough money to buy that. It doesn't make enough money to buy the stuff I buy now. It just does not. Not yet. Maybe one day. All of this will generate enough revenue to live that lifestyle, but it does not right now. Seth, I just love that Mattel is planning to sell Origins Direct, hopefully with addition of Mattel Creations special releases. They start crowdfunding some goals. I agree. It was, John said it right away. I want a crowdfunded Eternia playset, and I think that's the target on the wall. And that's where we'll know if this thing is really like landed, right?
Yeah.
Really.
And I bet that's in everybody's head there. I bet it's an idea that they've already talked about.
Yep. All right, just real quick, my toy hauls from the show. One, John Faust, I believe is his last name. I've been on his show that he does. Voice actor, really nice guy. He was set up and he was selling some of it. He just moved to California and was selling some of his collection. So the first thing that I bought was a Wind Raider box. So it's just the box, but it was in really nice shape. And we all love this artwork. It's arguably the best toy artwork ever. So he had it sitting there, and I was like, I thought it had the toy in it, so I thought it was gonna be pretty expensive. He's like, no, it's just the box. I was like, well, I have a complete Wind Raider, so I don't necessarily need another Wind Raider, but I love the art, and but just for the record, we did a flight where you couldn't even have a check or carry-on bag. Like just a backpack on my back is what I had with me. That's all I could fit. So it was kind of a good thing in that I couldn't bring that much stuff back. Limited space, literally as limited as possible. I was still concerned because I probably couldn't fit this, but James, I was like, maybe he can pack it up and just ship it back with his stuff. And then I was like, well, how much do you want for it? He's like, well, I was asking $20, but for you, Jay, I'd do it for 10. I was like, $10?
Wow.
You got a deal. I'll do that all day. $10 for a box. All day I'll do that. So thank you, John, for that great deal. So I do not have that with me right now. So that's why I have a picture of it. James, our dear friend, also has your poster that I got from
Nate.
So that is with his stuff as well. But I did get that poster for you.
Thank you.
All right. So that is the pictures. Now let's just show what I got in person. This next thing is not a He-Man thing, but it kind of worked out in that there was a lot of vintage stuff there, and this one guy had a bin full of Ghostbuster stuff that wasn't there the first couple of passes, but then it was sitting on the counter. And it's just baggied stuff full of Ghostbuster figures. So I was like, let me just look in here and see what's there. And then it was pretty run-of-the-mill stuff, nothing that exciting. But then I saw this guy in there in a baggie with no price tag. And if you've watched this channel for a while, you know, a year or so ago, I got the blue backpack version of this Slimer, which is pretty much only released, Super Fright feature Slimer, only released in Canada pretty much. And in time, these have become really expensive toys. Actually, they've kind of come down a little bit, but for a time last year, these were like $300 or something crazy like that.
Wow.
Now I think it's more like $150, $170. So it's come down a little bit. But still, so I know it's pretty valuable. It's one of them rarer real Ghostbuster toys. So I was like, how much? There's no price tag. So I was like, how much do you want for it? And he's like, I don't know. Let me see. Let me ask. I was like, I think $60. And I was like, sold. So clearly it's like, oh, and I'm glad I took out this bin that was sitting under the counter. I wasn't going to like bring it out and show people. So sometimes you benefit of going to a He-Man convention where they've got all the He-Man stuff priced exorbitantly. But then the other characters, I didn't spend that much time thinking about, you can get a good deal on it. So I now have both versions of the Fright Features Slimer.
That's awesome. Is one backpack color more rare than the other?
I don't necessarily know. I think the blue is more desirable. So there's a blue pack with an orange gun, and there's the red pack with the blue gun. So I have both of them.
Very cool.
Which is exciting. All right, last thing. Didn't I think bring the picture of it? There was a bunch of customizers, custom guys there. And it was the last day as I was walking out. I found this guy. He was in the front-ish area. Let me put it on my computer so I can share his handle or whatever to make sure you all can find it too. But he had a bunch of custom heads sitting on the counter, and he had these He-Man heads. Let me see if I can get to focus.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's focus. Let me do the hand thing. Put the hand behind. There we go.
There it is.
Oh. Anyway, I can get. But anyway, it's a really freaking cool head.
It looks it reminds me of what's that game? Dragon's Lair.
Kind of, yeah. It looks like a really neat animated He-Man head. So and he had it sitting on the Revelation He-Man. So I think the head sculpt turned out better than we may have expected it to, but it was okay. But when I saw this head on the figure, I was like, yes, sign me up. And again, it could fit in my backpack because I only had so much space. So it doesn't fit. It doesn't pop on as nicely as the others, but I did it earlier, so it should work here. But now that I'm doing this live, it may not. There we go. And yeah, like
that looks great,
right? It just looks so freaking cool. It looks like a neat, like a different kind of style animated head. And it proportionally, I think, looks really good too.
Yeah. It it looks a little closer to the actual animation.
Right? Exactly. So he had these heads and they were painted great and everything. He does them himself. The heads were $20. So I was like, this head looks awesome. You're an artist. Happy to support any artist, especially one that does great work like that. So bought that up. I believe he's out of Mexico, and you may know this person, John, because you're pretty knowledgeable about the popular customizers out there. So this might be like, oh yeah, that guy. But this was his table, Ombre X Customs.
Oh yeah, I've had some of his stuff.
Okay, well there you go. But yeah, he was set up so you can check him out if because he's selling them now. He had a whole bunch of different stuff. He had these cool vintage style customs that he did. But yeah, so this is what was left there. That was like at the end of the day. We had a whole bunch of different heads just sitting on the table, and he was selling them.
That's awesome.
So give him a follow. Great stuff. So
I can't believe he sold that for $20 painted.
Yeah.
That's a good price.
It's like, again, it looks great.
And the eyes look really good too. Like it looks factory.
Yeah, that's what I freaking loved about it. I can't paint for crap, so there is no world in which I could do this. You probably could. You're good at this stuff, but for me, no. But it looks so freaking cool. So this is the head that's going to be on my He-Man now.
You're going to have to send him a message.
Oh, I told him there. I was like, this thing is so freaking cool. I love what you're doing. This is amazing. So there you go. The Castle Grayskull was $600. We're selling it for $600. All right. There you go. This is our first 2-hour episode. So let's close this thing out.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us. PowerCon is gone and went. And again, thank you to everyone that ran into me, said, hey, thank you everyone that put on the show. Val and company did a great job. A lot of stress probably put that together, and I thought it was run fantastically. Very little hiccups. Mattel, thank you for what you presented, but you should have done it in person. Mondo, your setup was amazing. Super 7, even if you don't really do He-Man stuff anymore, you had a great presence and were really engaging for everybody. Everybody there, really great crew, really great vibes, fantastically run, and it was great to scratch that convention itch because it's been way too long. All right, everyone in the chat, thank you as always. We'll be back at our normally scheduled time next Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit that like button if you haven't already. If you want to be notified when this episode drops, hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. Until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.